All right, what's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This is our main side. There's 4 sides to us, though, as a whole. And I'll run over each of the other 3 sides, talk about this one, talk about where clothing has to sit, and then we'll get into the discussion, golly, on eating with the left hand, okay? We'll talk about why, but like I said, right, I'll discuss what this side of our company is because, yes, we are a clothing company. Yes, it's in our name, okay? But really what we do is address the human body's natural function. We come at it through the skeletal system, the thing that doesn't change. The fat content changes, the muscle mass changes, but the body's about its foundation. It's about a neutral joint and allowing it to be there. Every joint within the body has a neutral that it will reside in, and then it has operations from there. Okay, I say that we're just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. The human being on Earth, there's only one way the human body could ever work for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, okay? So hydration, eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, naturally, all the things we do as a human being physically, but we place clothing on us. And there's a center line that has to remain. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, our jaw, naturally stabilizing the entire body, is all in the center of 2 feet, opposing the center with gripped arches inward, keeping us vertical. So there you go, okay? We need to keep our clothing balanced, centered, fitting correct, where I will discuss in a minute. And then our bodies can just do our key phrase. Allowing is what we do for the human body. We allow the human body to work. We can never train the body, despite popular belief. It's just something that has operations in the only ways that it ever could. And so there's no way to train it. But if it's being restricted or altered by clothing, stretch in clothing that's just new, only decades old as of today's date, it goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles could ever work. There's a video under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company here titled Muscles Only Contract. And that's the case for every muscle in the body. So you can never stretch your body to help it. It just seems like it because when the body's in chronic patterning from clothing, scar tissue's built up, it just won't be working the only way it ever could. And people don't know how to fix it. And we do here. The actual truth. Yikes, don't believe us, but it's really, we do talk about the real reasons and the actual fixes for human beings' physical pain. And I say the only fix is clothing, and it's the truth. Because everything we do in our lives, we do it within and, in a sense, through our clothing. It's the only thing placed physically on us at all times. The human body was designed to work, it just would, unless there was a reason it couldn't. So that's what we do here on the main side. In the Image Clothing Company clothing will always stay centered, fit correct, be made from 100% natural materials because the human body is, and that's how we just let our bodies not be altered, okay? Free modifications we show within clothing. There's a lot that we do on just this main side of us in the Image Clothing Company. Now, another fourth of us is In the Image Clothing Company music. I show how to just keep the body unaltered while we make music of any kind. I'm a fingerstyle guitarist. I show sizings and setups of guitars. The hands are essentially the shoulders, as the feet are essentially the hips. Anywhere any part of the body goes, the rest of it comes. It can only ever work activated as a whole because that's just the only way that it can go anywhere. You can't drag around dead weight. Every part of the body's there because there's a reason to it, and it has to be playing its role, otherwise it just doesn't work. So yes, I make music and place it on In the Image Clothing Company music as well. Another fourth of us is In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and I get into deep, blunt, bold, raw, real, offensive, whatever you want to say about it, go ahead, right? Episodes though of the podcast are on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're just all the same human beings placed on the same earth, okay? We're on 120 episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast as of yesterday, so check it out if you'd like. Now, our last fourth is In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, where we specialize in standard purebred poodles, but we talk about things that apply to all dogs. Letting dogs stay natural is our slogan. There's unnaturally slippery and flat flooring that dogs are on indoors that they would never be on otherwise in nature, and unnatural materials in dog toys and accessories, dehydrated kibble. The water's been extracted from the food that we give our dogs. It's very unnatural for them, damages their body greatly. Collars, leashes, harnesses, anything placed onto dogs is potentially very imbalanced and maybe made out of those materials that are just man-made as well. So In The Image Clothing Company dog products, okay, things placed onto dogs like collars and all that we get into will be on InTheImageClothingCompany.com, where all of our products are. And same intent as human being clothing, staying centered around the dog, fitting it well, and being made of, in all that we can, 100% natural materials. So yeah, minimal, light, brandless on the exterior, and all the ways that that can happen. So yeah, but we do a lot with dogs, advocating for proper dog ownership, good dog owners, proper breeding, taking accountability as owners of dogs. And In The Image Clothing Company Poodles is just going to be huge. We also have to come, as of today's date, our standard poodle breeding program under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. Purebred, proper AKC registered poodle puppies. So yeah, it's gonna be really, it's just gonna be awesome. I love poodles, man, standard size specifically. So now let's get into this, but I'll talk about where clothing has to sit. Okay, the body's just what it is. Pants have to be entirely above the hips, so there's no restriction to the functionality of the pelvis. The waistband angle of our pants needs to be slightly higher in the front than the rear to keep our core muscles just as they always would be. The only thing they ever could do, constantly activated, okay? It's just how the body would work unless something was not letting it. And then the tops that we wear have seams on top of our shoulders. They need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders because our shoulders only ever work behind our head. And button-ups naturally just sit behind the shoulders with a band of material rather than just one single seam. The edges of our tops should ideally just be right at the edges of our shoulders. I've addressed this shirt. It's slightly too large for me, but I have the clothing I have right now, and there you go, okay? But that's just where the functionality of our shoulder joint is, okay? Is at the joint. The ball and capsule socket. Ball and socket capsule of the shoulder. Yikes. So, two things we have as prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company to not alter the body, okay? But they're conditional because there's not always ropes in our shoes. We call them shoelaces, but there's only one way to weave a rope across the top of the human foot and not alter all the mechanics in there. And that's happening to so many people across the earth. Pretty much every single human on the earth, actually, really. But that's what we call In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. So found wherever you find our 5-word name as a whole, you'll find how to lace your shoes the only way your foot is shaped. It's nuts, dude. It's so nuts that we can be in the world that we're in, so disconnected from the only way that things could ever work. And we have to tie our shoes evenly over toward the inside on both feet, just because there's a center line to the human being and you're tying knots around its foundation at each of its feet, okay? So it has to be even. And then removing all tags from clothing is our second prerequisite. Tags are just either causing a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, and or just not allowing muscles to activate. Like the ones in the shoes often don't stick out, but they don't allow the arches of the feet to grip or the ankles to stay neutral, okay? So here we are in this video. That was our intro, packed full as they are. I love that. Genuinely, we do a lot here, okay? So eating with the left hand, I talk about, as I referenced, right, there's a video on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company titled The Right-Handed World. 85%, give or take, of the population of the earth is right-handed, and things that are made product-wise are geared toward people using their right hand for them. clothing patterns themselves, weight-wise and just positioning that they put the body in, are right-handed, if you will. They just really are. So what we need to do is be able to have our jaw, which stabilizes our entire body, stay in the center, because there just has to be a center line. Otherwise, our body's just using so much excess stabilizing muscle to just try to operate on Earth's gravity. Rotation issues are happening left to right through the whole body, and just so much chronic patterning and damage comes from that. So when we eat, I've got this granola bar here, okay? We need to eat with our left hand as well as our right, okay? But here's the thing, okay? When you're in life and you're a human being, your right side is going to just be more dropped than your left. It's going to be more externally rotated than your left, okay? And in this position, this is my right hand that this granola bar is in now. This is just how we're going to be eating as human beings. Look all that's happening in my body when I'm doing this. When I put this up to my mouth, my spine is twisted, my head is over, so the muscles in the neck are so different activation-wise. My shoulders are rotated differently. My wrist is going to be out of its neutral position, straight out from that pinky, okay? And traveling down and really stemming from the feet, they will be rotated, okay? The pelvis is twisted. Our jaw, which has muscles that stem from the base of our jaw here at the lower jaw and go all the way up into our head, it's going to be opening like this. Do you see that? If I were to open my jaw straight versus eating on my right, see what I mean? The whole body turns and your breathing patterns are twisted. Everything, man. I mean, everything. So the big thing is there's a lot of things in clothing that are just going to cause you to naturally reach for food with your right hand and going to make it so you can almost only get your right hand to your mouth. I mean, it's uncomfortable for most all human beings on the earth to even get their left hand to their mouth, because if your whole body is used to just being to its right side and rotation-wise imbalanced to the right side, your eyes and your jaw, your mouth opening is just used to being more to the right rather than in the center. Your nose and the breathing that happens in each nostril opposing the center is just imbalanced anyway. It's just going to be something you're going to naturally do. Reach for food with your right hand and put it into your mouth with your right hand, okay? If you're right-handed, tying shoes unevenly, you're going to be tying them to the right, okay? That's why I said it stems from the feet. If you have a drawstring or anything rope-wise tied around your waist and you're not using a knot that's just evenly horizontal, which you just wouldn't know if you didn't know, then you're going to probably tie a right-handed knot, twisting your whole pelvis into the same position. So yeah, there's a lot of things, right? The dreaded collar seam under In The Image Clothing Company, look it up, do it, it'll change your life. Our dreaded collar seam modification allows the shoulders to sit so much more even, pretty well even, but then there's still just a seam in the collar. But all these things and everything within clothing will just cause you to be already to your right side, so here you are, okay? Terribly imbalanced. And then now we're training our jaw in a position to the right, and as we chew, this isn't a bad thing, but it just happens. Your teeth are just squishing something between them to grind it down small so that we can swallow it and it can be digested well. And so your teeth over time just wear down. They just do. And they'll wear down in the position that you're chewing the most commonly in, okay? And so now your jaw stabilizing your whole body will be imbalanced. And so now from your jaw down to your feet and down to the tips of your fingers will be creating and staying within an imbalanced patterning, okay? So when we eat, we need to be able to eat with our left hand, okay? Watch this position. Watch my whole body. Standing here centered, Watch when I go here to put something into my mouth from my left hand. Just watch what my whole body that you can see in the video has to do. You see that? I mean, I can stay entirely centered and go like this, but who does that really, right? I mean, most people don't even know, and no fault of their own, that they would need to be intentional about how they eat, as far as how they put things into their mouth. You know, people just eat. They're hungry and they put food in their mouth and it looks like this, right? I mean, it just happens. So yeah, I mean, just the difference in right side to left side, your whole body has to move to get your hand there, unless you are being just so intentional, right? So the opening of our mouth is our lips, and when we're drinking things, right, think about that. Look at my whole body. If I had a drink in my right hand here and I were to just drink like this, my whole body has to move. If I had a drink in my left hand and I were to just drink like this, all the musculature in my neck is contracting, my whole body's stabilizing to allow that to happen, lifting the weight up of what you're putting against your mouth, opening your jaw, swallowing, and all the musculature in the neck, around the trachea, in the upper chest, in the whole body, your abdomen, your pelvis, your rotations down to your toes and out through your hands, right? Everything's just different and discrepant, meaning just, yeah, really opposite, left to right, right? Here you're externally rotating, well, in a sense. Anyway, one side's in one rotation and the other side's in the other rotation. It just depends on how your hand's actually approaching your mouth, right? But yeah, and then your body is using musculature all throughout it, man, as your food or water or drink of any kind is going through your system and it's just processing it. So we need to be very intentional about really not only just eating centered, because that still could only be with just one hand. And so you can keep your whole body centered here, but now your arm has to do things that are different no matter how centered your actual head is, okay? So yeah, we need to be able to eat with our left hand as well as our right, okay? When I say as well as, I mean it like doing it as well as we can do it with our right, but I just mean doing it with our left also, okay, in both ways. Because yeah, it should be as comfortable to eat with your left hand as it is with your right hand. It should be as comfortable to stand on your right leg as it is on your left leg, because there's two sides to the center line of a human being on Earth's gravity. Okay? And that just pretty much has to be the case. It might seem far-fetched, or it might seem like something that you're so far away from being the case, but no matter what, gravity just does what it does. And no matter what, there's a center of gravity. Maybe you've got a deformed body and you've got an imbalanced body because you've got an amputation or some deformity. Well, there's still a center of gravity, right? You still have two lungs opposing the center, unless you don't, right? I mean, sure, whatever can come up, but it's about where we're placed. We're on Earth, and we have to stay vertical on it, okay? So we need to be able to eat, because yeah, all the musculature in our face really goes into eating, and our musculature in our face really goes into then breathing. Our musculature in our face really helps us stand, okay? And we don't think about these things, and not only do we not think about them, but if you just don't know, then you don't know. But that's why we have In The Image Clothing Company, okay? Speaking truth that applies to every human on the earth for literally ever. So, eating with your left hand, it just needs to happen. But this is why I say clothing is the only fix to human beings' physical pain or physical problems of any kind, really, truly, even internal stuff. You'll never get to the bottom of your physical non-workings if you don't have your clothing fitting you correct and centered, because if you're just wearing oversized clothing, it's just falling to your right side, you're never going to even be able to get your left hand to your face. Your clothing has to sit centered so that you can evenly just move your own hands to your centered line, which is your mouth, to eat. So there you go, okay? Now, that's about it. I'm not even gonna eat this during this. I'm gonna turn it off and then eat it, so I can just sit and enjoy it and not have to feel like I'm, you know, doing it just for the sake of content. But this is huge, okay? It goes into everything, man. I mean, your balance, your sleep, your speech, and your ability to articulate your words, it comes from eating with your left hand, as well as your right. And the only way it could ever happen while wearing clothing is if clothing stays centered. It starts at the feet, all the way up to the shoulders, all the way out to the cuffs of our sleeves. Okay, so there you go. And there's so many videos I could reference, and everything we talk about under In The Image Clothing Company's main side when it comes to the anatomy of the human body and just allowing it to work through clothing goes directly to eating with your left hand, just because there's two sides to the human being with a center line on Earth's gravity. So I'm not even going to reference videos more than what I have, but check us out. I mean, we just talk about things as they are. So there you go, okay? Stick around for Poodle Parade events under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, where we get together with purebred poodles of any size and or poodle mixes of any size. No other dog breeds allowed, because a lot of what we do is advocacy, and there's a lot more reasons as to why that is. But just, you know, everything's scheduled on InTheImageClothingCompany.com. All the events for the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, where I get together with people, talk to them about how to allow their bodies to work and how the body just does work the only way it ever could, God's design. And yeah, there you go, okay? Today's the 16th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company. And now you know, okay? And we talk about it, and we've talked about it where I have. Yeah, and we'll continue to, but it's just extremely important. So there you go. Thank you.